There's a famous line from this poem by a poet called John Donne. In 1623, he wrote this poem. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. It was originally written when Donne was seriously ill, to remind people that the death of one person affects us all, since we are one humanity. This poem ends, any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. As human beings, we have an innate sense of solidarity with others, evidenced by the fact that we see attitudes like racism as an aberration rather than the desired norm. Underneath our visible physical features, we know we are all essentially the same. And so we crave connection and community. We live in cities and towns. We regularly gather for social events and festivals, and we derive our sense of identity from one another. The Bible regularly emphasises this human unity, beginning with the account of creation, in which God made one man, Adam, from whom every other human being would come. We are all related. All of us are in Adam's family tree. God's plan for humanity isn't that we be a mass of disconnected individuals, but a network of communities described in the Bible as tribes, languages, peoples, and nations. A person would be known not only for who they are as a person, but for the various relationships they have within families and friendships and workplaces and homes. This vision of community flows through the whole of the Bible's story. In the Old Testament, God related not just to individuals, but to a whole nation, the nation of Israel, made up of 12 tribes who were descended from 12 sons of Abraham. And when he made himself known to Abraham, God gave him the promise that he would make his descendants into a great nation, and that through them his goodness would be going out to impact people of every nation in humanity. Even though not every individual person within this nation of Israel had personal faith in God, every member of Israel still enjoyed the benefits of his saving work. Then God's people in the Old Testament, while they were defined by national and ethnic boundaries, in the New Testament, the door has been opened for people of every tribe, language, people and nation to come in and to be members of the new community that Jesus is forming, what we call the church. The church isn't a building, but the people who gather together. Sometimes, but not always, in a building. The word church in the Bible literally means the called out ones, meaning that it's people who have come out of their various places and groups and loyalties to be formed into a new community with Jesus as their head. You could say that going to church doesn't make a person a Christian any more than turning up at a footy oval makes you an AFL player. However, if I claim to be an AFL player, you would expect to see me regularly at the oval, training and playing as a member of the team. So just as someone can't be a real football player on their own, so being part of the church community is essential to being a Christian. God's call for Christians to be church is a real challenge to today's individualistic and self-focused culture. It's a call to be part of something where the focus isn't on me trying to have my needs met, but where my focus is shifted away from myself and towards God and his people. 4 key things take place when the church gathers, which we see described when the very first Christians started meeting. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. These are the 4 things we've actually been talking about in these Walk This Way sessions. So, teaching. We read, we discuss the Bible, and we hear it taught and explained by those who have been specially trained and appointed, called pastors. There's fellowship. Each member of the church is encouraged to contribute by using the gifts that God has given them with the aim of encouraging and serving one another so that we may be a community that is characterised by love. Breaking of bread is another word for communion. So we regularly observe communion, that simple meal of bread and wine, as an expression of our unity with one another and our unity with the crucified and risen Jesus. And fourthly, prayers. So together we talk to God, bringing to him the needs of one another as well as the wider community and the world. Being a part of church isn't always easy. It's made up of people whom God has chosen, not whom we have chosen. And so there'll be people there with different personalities and preferences and cultures and opinions. And like any human community, that can sometimes lead to tensions. But that is a deliberate plan on God's part, because it's there in church that we learn to love and serve others who are not like us, where we can put into practice the principle of laying aside our own interests to work for the interests of others. So going to church is not a religious activity. It's not something that earns favour with God, but it's an essential way to express our love for God and for one another, and to work together to be participants in Jesus' mission in the world.